Welcome, 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 welcome to those that are here. I want to welcome every single one of you. We're gonna wait just a minute while we wait for a few other people to show up. I like to remind you to just hit that thumbs up so the YouTube can start sending these notifications out. I personally don't like the way YouTube works. I'm from the old school of YouTube, came back to YouTube, found all these new regulations, all these new ways of doing things. But we got to adapt and overcome. I want to thank whoever's here. I'm still getting used to this live thing, y'all. I'm still getting used to it. That's just a fact. I don't know how long before I should schedule it. When I schedule it, I don't know. I'm still getting used to it. But today we're gonna go over some good fights. We're gonna recap this weekend. Some of the good fights that that pretty much caught our interest. Some upsets, which is normal in boxing. But it's part of the sport. It's part of the sport, and we're just gonna recap it. I want to ask you as you come in, just hit that thumbs up so the YouTube can start sending this notification. And what do you think if we start in about 2 or 3 minutes, just to give a chance to others to start popping up, and hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. I had a pretty decent weekend. Grandpa's birthday was yesterday. We had a little bit of food. Came back to watch boxing. Started watching boxing. Then the signal went blank. Then we couldn't get it because the football game was on. Then we had to wait on that dumb football game to be over. Stressful times just to see boxing. But that's what we do. We love the sport. So we got to deal with it. That's just it. We just got to deal with it. And yeah, man, I'm really pumped about this past card. We're going to get into it. I really need to hear from you guys, man, because when I upload a video, now this is what I've been noticing. When I upload a video, you guys are quick to respond and get into debates with me, right? But when I give y'all the platform, when I give y'all the life to interact with me and stuff, to bring that same energy, then all you hear is, little crickets. I'm giving it to you right there. That's what you hear. So I need that energy today. I need y'all to bring that same energy you guys put into the comments on my regular upload videos. That same energy, bring it to the comment section today. You don't have to agree with me. You just have to engage with me. As long as we keep it PG, respectful, we're going to have a fun life. We're going to have a very interesting life. We're going to exchange ideas. I don't come to YouTube thinking I know it all. And I do think I'm good up to a certain level in the most humble way. But thanks, GFunk. But that's what I'm saying, GFunk. You be noticing when I upload a video and I drop the video, then on the comments, right? Hey, they be quick to just bring all that energy. But then when they get this platform, that's exactly what you hear. Let me give it to you again. That little cricket. But let's see here. We got 1 more minute and we'll start. I want to thank whoever's here. We're going to start with 1. I'm not looking for thousands. I'm looking for a few interested in the sport that we love. And if there's only 1, then I'll start. GFunk, I want to thank you for the support. What's crazy about this whole YouTube thing is that the lives, I know I came back. I got a couple of thousand subscribers. They never left I had thousands that left, but a couple of thousands hung around for about 6-7 years. But obviously, YouTube went through that transition. That's right. They don't want that smoke. YouTube went through that transition where you have to like activate the bell. And I know I got about 2,000 subscribers here that are subscribed to me, but have not activated that bell. And that's fine. Eventually they'll get to it. Nopal Boxeo. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here. We're going to get into it, brother. We're just, let's see, we got 30 seconds and we'll get into it. Nopal, don't be like the others, bro. Engage. Engage. G-Funk knows you don't never have to agree with me, just as long as we keep it PG and respectful both ways, then we should have an exciting show. I'll just go ahead and start out of respect for the 5 people that are watching, because that's 5 people interested in the sport. And so the first fight, man, first fight that I want to talk about, and I'm new with the StreamYard. Shouts out to G-Funk, because he's the one that put me onto it. Right, G-Funk? So, but the fight that I want to... I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. Right? And I'm very excited about that fight, because here's the deal. Anthony Joshua, for the longest time, ever since he fought that first fight with Andy Ruiz, let's be real here. Let's be real. I'm biased. I absolutely love Anthony Joshua. I like every time you see a heavyweight boxer that brings some sort of excitement to the game, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. But ever since he fought that Andy Ruiz fight, and he went down, and then you saw how he fought the second fight, to some people he left questions. Is this boxer now scared? Is this boxer now doubting himself? Does he doubt that he can take a punch? Right? A lot of people thought that. I saw it in a different way, but that's okay. I saw a boxer that actually made adjustments, came back, and did the necessary steps to win a fight. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's not the most exciting fight. Sometimes it's not the fight we want to see. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, we, the boxing fan, we're not script writers. We're not script writers. We don't have a remote control that controls the live boxers. Sometimes we want to see the boxer does something, but he doesn't. So Anthony Joshua did his thing to win that fight, but I think everybody was in agreement that all that muscle he was packing as well. You can't loosely move when you're packing all that muscle, man. Especially he ain't no giant. I mean, he's big, but for that type of body mass, for that type of muscle, that was a bit big. He went up against Kubrat Pulev. And a lot of people had some doubts, because they said, yo, Pulev has that jab, Pulev has that jab. And we've seen in the past, in the last heavyweight bout that we've seen a boxer, Enjoy Joycey, who is slow, who a lot of people thought was going to lose the fight, but he brought with him the secret key. That's that key, that golden key that opens the door to every single room in the house. It's called the jab. Ladies and gentlemen, the jab. You're right, G-Funk. All that muscle makes you stiff. Take a look at all the slick fighters, all the slick heavyweights in the world. They have been great. Take a look at all of them. All of them. Tell me how many of them have had all that chiseled bodybuilder muscle looking like. Not many. You had Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, it's a tough guy, but Muhammad Ali with no traps and shoulders and biceps and triceps and six packs and pecs and none of that stuff. Just none of that stuff. Matter of fact, you could look at Muhammad Ali, you'd be like, the casual will look at Muhammad Ali and be like, how can Muhammad Ali be so good? He has no muscles. That's just the casual speaking. But we, the boxing fans, know the negative effects of too much muscles. Because too much muscles, although it might give you pretty physique, although it might give you, say, the girls, strength, decent power up to a certain extent. We also know that the more body mass you bring, the smaller the fuel tank. And the smaller the fuel tank, the less fuel. And the less fuel, the less miles you're going to go. And you need to have enough fuel to go 12 rounds, 12 miles inside the ring. He went up against Cobra Pulev. Everybody thought Cobra Pulev was going to come in and put on a show with the jab, cause some issues. Some people thought Pulev was going to force Joshua to step out of his comfort zone and go look for the fight, bring the pressure in, because they thought that somehow Joshua was going to be dominated by the jab of Pulev. And it's fair to think that when you see a fighter that brings such a good jab, because trust me, I love the jab. Like I told you, it's the key that opens every room in the house, including your safe box with all your money, your cash, and your guns. That's a fact. Right? They thought Cobra Pulev was going to bring it, even though that he's past his prime, quote unquote. Because let me tell you, the reason I go quote unquote on the heavyweight division is so much different than in the other weight divisions, man. A heavyweight can go a lot further in their careers than any other weight division if they take care of themselves, if they have not taken a lot of punishment. Cobra Pulev, it's fair to say that he's taken some punishment in some fights, but although he was past his prime, Cobra Pulev had the argument that you can say I'm past my prime, but can you explain to me why is it that I've only lost to one man, which at the time was Klitschko? I'll tell you what Anthony Joshua did. Anthony Joshua went back to the school. The first thing he did, he dropped some muscle mass. And after that, you can tell throughout the entire fight that it wasn't just the knockdowns, that it wasn't just the uppercuts, that it wasn't just the knockout victory, that Anthony Joshua came to the fight with a bag of tools. With a bag of tools. Ring generalship, movements, defense, mid, long range, controlling the pace of the fight, bouncing dude off the campus, boxing IQ. That's Anthony Joshua. That's what he brought. That's what a champion, in my eye, is supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Think about it. Let's say for a second that you start cooking a pot of rice, right? I'm gonna go rice because I'm a rice head. That's just a fact. I'm a rice head. I gotta have my rice. I gotta have my beans. I don't care what kind of beans. Just give me my frijoles, my beans. I do not care what kind of beans. Just give me my beans. Let's say you're cooking a pot of beans, for example. Rice and beans. Let's get the combo ready. Right? Track with me for a second. And when you're finished cooking it, you try it and it's too salty. What do you do then? You all of a sudden say, I'm no longer going to cook beans or rice for the rest of my life? No, what do? You cook it again, this time with a little less salt. But let's say that this time, when you try it, it's too low on salt. What do? You give up? No, you cook it again. And you keep cooking it until you get the perfect formula. Same thing applies in everything in life. Same thing applies in boxing. You lose a fight, or you get a close decision fight, or you didn't look good in a fight. As a champion, you are measured by what you are able to do when you go back to the drawing board and then you're back in the ring. When the pros, when your opponents, when the fans are able to see the change that you were able to come up with, then you start getting measured by that. That's what, in my opinion, Anthony Joshua did. He adjusted. He has been working on himself. And last night he showed that, hey, this is what I'm bringing. Let me show you how it works. Let me show you how it looks. And ultimately, he gave us an excellent fight. And he remains the man on the division. However, if you ask me, I still like to see him go against Ruiz for a third time. Third time. say you don't want to. Look at me and tell me, as a boxing fan, not as a casual, as a boxing fan, tell me that you would not like to see, or that you would not enjoy, a third fight between Ruiz, between Joshua. Hey, at the end of the day, they're 1-1. And at the end of the day, there's one with the most exciting victory, and that's Ruiz with the knockout. Yeah, I know Joshua made adjustments, came back and did his thing. But at the end of the day, if you put it on a scale of which one which one of the victories the fans enjoyed the most, I'm pretty sure people's gonna say Ruiz victory. So yeah, let him go fight Fury. And if the fight happens with Fury, the first fight and the second fight, I still would like to see him give Ruiz that third chance, even if he comes back and embarrasses Ruiz, even if he comes back and he shows the world, look, Ruiz is a joke who comes and gets 20, 30 million dollars, and then he goes back, buys himself $500,000 G-Wagons and eats burritos and tacos and quesadillas. It does not matter. Just come back and give the man his well-deserved third chance. Let's see, GFunk, he says here, he owes Ruiz. Of course he does. Of course he does. Any true boxing fan would agree with you, GFunk. Only the casuals, even only the fanboys, only the people that do not have an appreciation for what it's like stepping in there, for what it's like when I beat you and you beat me. Now we got a score to settle. Only those people will disagree with you. Nopal, I would love that, but Ruiz needs to do something, bro. He hasn't had any fights since. And you know what, though? I'm going to sound a little harsh, but I think that's nobody else's fault but his. Nobody, because look at it. Track this for a second. You become the man. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I believe the first Mexican heavyweight in history. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, say you're wrong. If you're right, just say correct. The first Mexican heavyweight in history. You know what that means? The first Mexican heavyweight in history. Okay, you can eliminate nationality. The first, or the heavyweight, right? You're the heavyweight champion of the world. Dude, you are the man of the entire identity of the sport of boxing. You understand that, boxing fan? Let me explain it to the casuals. The only reason Floyd Mayweather was who he was is because the level of boxing at a heavyweight level dropped. Because if there was exciting heavyweights during the era of Floyd wouldn't have been Money May, Pretty Boy, Mr. Pay-Per-View. He wouldn't have. He just wouldn't have. And to give you a proof of that, when Floyd was coming up, killing everybody at the 130, 135, 126, I believe he was also 126, or I might be wrong on that. And Tyson was still around. Holyfield was still around. Lennox Lewis was still around. You didn't hear the name of Floyd Mayweather anywhere. Anywhere. Tell me if I'm wrong. But Ruiz, when he became that guy, he didn't show the world. He didn't show his promoter. He didn't show the networks. I appreciate, I acknowledge, I support, I work for to maintain. I'm just going to enjoy that I am who I am and go out and do what I want. And then you saw how he came back. Let's see. Ruiz is doing exactly what he sees Cuban fighters do, only 5 times worse. Correct. You see this perfect example, Nopal. I appreciate you bringing that. Let me track with me for a second. Watch this. I'm going to give the example of a boxer whose name will remain unnamed out of respect for the person that told me and out of respect for the boxer, because he's still active up to a certain level. But if you use your imagination, if you connect the dots that I'm going to give you, if you've been following boxing faithfully, you're going to know who he is. And even if you reveal the name of the comments, I'm not going to tell you whether that's the guy or not, just out of respect. Watch this. Watch this, Nopal. Watch this, GFunk. The man comes to the U.S. He sells his Olympic gold medal in Guantanamo for $3,000. Okay, that's a lot of money in Cuba. $3,000, multiply that times 27. That's how much money the man had, right? But he used all that to go to Mexico, and then Mexico cross the border and then come to the U.S. Because that's right, Cubans cross the border as well. The man comes to the U.S. He had already arranged a pickup. I believe he was at the I believe he was at one of the Arizona border crossings or somewhere in Arizona. They picked the man up. He got a little bit of change with him, so they go to a Walmart, get him some clothes just to get him to Miami. 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 For Cuban boxers, Miami. The man gets to Miami. He's still got a little bit of change in his pocket. Guess what's the first thing he does? Guess. He goes clubbing. You just risked your entire life, sold your Olympic gold medal, risk your life going through Mexico, risk getting caught and deported back to Cuba, and then face the consequences of being an Olympian, abandoning the revolution. Now you're being looked at as a traitor. You risk going through the border. You risk coming to Miami. You get to Miami, and the first thing you do is party, and it doesn't end there. The man gets his first $250,000. After all the taxes is paid and everything, he's left with about, after promoter, coach, taxes and everything is paid, he's left with about $136,000. Guess what he does? You would think you would think, I'm not gonna say GFunk. I don't know. I'm not gonna say. I might tell you through text, but not here. I'm not gonna say. And the good thing is that there's a lot of Cubans that are boxers and are in Miami. So that the pod is big to where it might be or it may not be Gamboa. He's left with 100 G's in his pocket. You would think a smart man would be like, okay, well now, let me put some money down on a crib. Maybe not a mansion, but a decent crib. Let me, I don't know, just let me see what I can do with this. The first thing he does? He goes clubbing. He buys himself some chains, La Cubana. Them big old chains that all the reggaetoneros are constantly bragging about, La Cubana. Thick old chains, gold chains, all shiny and stuff. He buys himself a Cubana, right? He starts going to restaurants, paying for people's foods, even people he don't even know, locking down the VIPs, right? And the man, he was just so talented that for many years, he was able to get away with this. For many years, he was able to get away with this. Dominant, firecrackers in both hands, right? But then what happens is that the consequences of your indiscipline catches up to you. First, psychologically. First, second of all, greedy to the money because you're making this much and you're spending this much, and somehow you feel you're not making money, and now you start cutting your trainer's percentage. Your trainer lets you go, right? And so I'm telling you right now that in the same way that Cubans do it, Andy Ruiz did it. And Andy Ruiz keeps doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about the guy being a bad person. For what it looks like, the kid is a very humble kid. I will always remember his post-fight interview when he won the title. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? What did he say? I actually had tears when the dude said that, because that showed the upbringing that he had. And at that time when he said that, Mom, you ain't gonna have to work again. At that time when he said that, I thought I said, he's focused, dude. That's the mentality right there. When you're focused on mom, on dad, on kids, when you focus on putting their financial future in your back, that's a fighter that is focused. That's a fighter that's like, he's gonna go to the gym every day and kill himself to maintain that belt around his waist. And no, he didn't do that. He blew up. He blew up. He went on the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan asks him, so what are you planning on doing with all this money? What are you planning on doing when you're retired or whatever the case might be? The dude said, just keep doing what I keep doing. I love eating and I love going framing with my dad and stuff. I love going framing houses and remodeling houses, which I love doing. Hey, man, I understand. I've worked construction. I just recently remodeled mom's house. I understand all that. But the only part I didn't like is I love eating. You love eating? I think we all do. But the difference between us and you is that you're the heavyweight champion of the world. Is that sometime you're going to have to get in there and defend that belt. And the day came when he had to defend that belt. And unfortunately, y'all saw who got up in that ring, which was the man that, in my opinion, at that point was not deserving of holding that belt because of what he showed, his physique. He was just fat, just fat, gassed out. And so, yes, Joshua owes. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. Joshua owes him another fight. But I think Ruiz also needs to get himself active, needs to get himself in shape, just needs to show that he wants this, needs to show that he wants this. Get you whatever little stepping stone you want just to get back in shape and then get in there. Because a lot of people want to criticize great boxers, but there are fighters that are retired, and guess what they're doing? Oh, perfect example, right? Retired. And guess what they're right? That's what I mean, right? That should be the mentality of every fighter seeking greatness, every fighter seeking wealth, every fighter seeking their names being on people's lips. You can say that I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, there's no way you can prove me wrong, because all I'm doing is giving you realities of the sport, right? So, moving on with Joshua, I think the fight with Joshua will happen. Eddie Hearn has already said the Top Rank and DAZN have already come to terms that the first fight is going to be a split down the middle, 50-50. And then the winner of that first fight will make 60% on the rematch, and the loser will make 40%. And it's already been that has already been agreed. Notice, only that has been agreed. Not whether the fight is going to take place on a certain day, a certain time, not whether the fight is going to take place in England or in the United States. As of now, Eddie Hearn has said, I believe, that the country offering the most money is Saudi Arabia. And obviously, that's where the money flows from all the oil. But both fighters being British, both fighters recognizing the magnitude of this fight, both fighters wanting to give the people what they want to see, want that fight to take place in England. Can you blame them? No. What happens in the professional boxing is that money is a big part of the game, not so much skills. And so both fighters want the fight to happen in England, but the money's in Saudi Arabia. So Hearn said that in order for that fight to take place in England, both fighters are going to have to take a 50% cut, right? Now, let me show you the idea, the mindset of a people's champ, the mindset of two fighters who is legacy first, money second, right? Immediately, Joshua says, I'll do it. That's fine. Just cut 50% of my purse. I want to fight in front of my people, right? I haven't heard from Ruiz, from Fury, but I can tell you, knowing Fury, that he's going to be willing to get a, I mean, if a man donated his entire purse, he just said, you know, whatever it was that he made on that first fight with Wilder, he just donated it. So that right there tells me that when the offer is brought to him, hey, you're going to have to take a pay cut in order to fight in England, I'm pretty sure he's going to accept it. When that fight happens, prepare, people. Prepare. Because that fight is going to generate a lot of talk. That fight is going to generate a lot of heat here in the YTBC. That fight is going to generate a lot of hate coming from the new medias or whatever medias or whatever kind of medias. That fight's going to generate a lot of heat, but a lot of attention to the sport of boxing. A lot of much needed attention. I can tell you right now, I'll be watching it. I can tell you right now that it's time for Deontay Wilder to stop crying and to start getting in shape, correcting with the things that he does to align himself in a position where neither of these two fighters are going to be able to deny a fight with him. Nopal, fact, bro. Legacy first. Instead of a P4P list, we need a legacy list. Man, I wish I could just forget fist. Forget that COVID. I wish I could just squeeze your hands, bro. Like mano a mano, brother. Because that right there, I think you're the only one that's ever thought of that, man. I'm going to give you credit for that. From now on, if I ever mention that in any of my videos, credit to you, bro. Because at the end of the day, let's talk about that P4P list for a little bit. Just elaborate on it for a minute. At the end of the day, it holds no weight. It's based on people's personal taste of a certain boxers. It's not based on greatness. It's not based on accomplishment. It's based on how much are you liked. You want an example? You want an example? Because I'm pretty sure y'all gonna think I'm capping. Last night, did you hear Timothy Bradley say that to him, Shakur Stevens is pound for pound in the top 10? Oh. Pound for pound, top 10? Let me repeat that. Shakur Stevens, according to Timothy Bradley, is pound for pound, top 10? You see, that is the joke. That's the commentators talking. That's the commentators pressured by the networks to say certain things to start selling the idea of a fighter. Don't get me wrong, not hating on the kid. The kid is great. The kid will be good. But is he, right now as we speak, is he top 10 pound per pound? Be real, son. Be real, son. Be real, son. See, this is the exact problem I used to have, unfortunately, 7 years ago with Canelo. That a lot of people 7 years ago was already putting Canelo in the P4P, greatness of the greatness, cream de la crop, the icing on the cake. And I'm like, dude, I mean, what am I missing here? I actually I questioned my boxing IQ for a minute. I'm like, what am I not seeing on Canelo that everybody sees? And so I was called a Canelo hater, right? But what people don't realize is that Canelo was a good fighter on the making. Today, yes. Even though I don't believe in the P4P list, if you put him top 3 or even number 1, I'll be like, because he has grown. But Shakur Stevens, top 10 on the mythical P4P list, get out of here. Let me put this coming up one more time. I'll get back to you, GFunk, because I want people to see that. Right there. Facts, bro. Legacy first. Instead of a P4P list, we need a legacy list. A legacy list. Understand that, boxing casual fans. That we, the real boxing fans, the people that love boxing, the people that want to see boxing succeed, the people that know boxing, we need not the P4P list, a legacy list. That's what we need. And in that legacy list, I would think that everybody would fight harder to be in. Because right now, everybody thinks, Pound for pound. I know that if I can be charismatic and blah, 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 and win a few good fights, I can probably make it in there. And if I make it in there, then my purse is going to go up a little bit, And if I make it in there, then I'm going to go from 100,000 Instagram followers to maybe 500,000 Instagram followers, right? Mm-mm. Legacy doesn't give a damn about your popularity. It doesn't, homie. G-Funk. Sorry, brother. Brother, I ain't trying to keep you on the back burner, but hey, I got to give props to Nopal, man. Nopal hit it out the park. Grand slam with that little comment right there. I've never made a P for P list. It's not my thing. I've never made it either. And don't get me wrong, I have made the mistake sometimes led by emotions of saying, because such and such is pound for pound. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why did I say that dumb stuff? I don't even believe in that list. P for P? What the hell is pound for pound? Let's be real, pound for pound. Shakur Stevens, according to Tim Bradley, top 10 pound for pound. Hey, if you want to call me a Shakur Stevens hater, go at it. Bring it on. I'll tell you how much I like the kid. I'll tell you everything I know about the kid. I'll tell you how much the kid is going to grow. And then you tell me if I'm truly a hater or if I'm just a realist, homie. Whoever you are, I know there's always that one person lurking in the dark. Always. That like I said, G-Funk, at the end of the video, at the beginning of the video, when I upload a video, they're quick to respond with negativity. But when I give them the platform here on the live section to engage with me on live, back and forward conversation, then you hear that? That's all they give you, homie. Them little crickets right there. That's all you get. I don't hate Shakur Stevens' boxing game. I actually like Shakur Stevens, but Tim Bradley, you are full of whatever it is they're telling you in the networks in order to keep that little job you got, because Shakur Stevens is not even top 15 of that mythical pound for pound list. I'm sorry. Chicano Prophet, salud family, saludo familia. What's up, bro? Thanks for dropping by. I know Mondays, a lot of our homies is having their life. You guys have known them a lot longer than me, but I mean, Sundays. But at the end of the day, I'm so constricted in time, man, that I gotta drop something when I gotta drop it, And for that very reason, I know some of y'all can make it. Some of y'all may not like hanging out with a brother, and some of y'all may just come in for a few minutes and leave. Whatever y'all do, much appreciated. Let's see what Chicano Prophet says here. I'm getting tired of the pound for pound talk, as well as, to be honest, that is just a fact. That's just a fact, man. What is becoming of boxing? What is becoming of boxing to where we have to come up with all of these mythical terms in order to put a fighter in a pedestal? Talk to me, boxing fans. Talk to me. Engage. Whatever happened? What is happening with boxing? What happened to the days when a boxer didn't care if he was liked by the masses? His skills and skills alone placed him on top of the mountains. His skills and skills alone placed him on the throne. Whatever happened to those days, people? Talk to me. Why are we talking about pound for pound today? Whatever happened to that? Matter of fact, I'm going to put this up again. Facts, bro. Legacy first. Instead of a P for P list, we need a legacy list. From now on, all my posts, #legacy list. If you give me permission, Nopal, that's what I'm going to do. My Twitter post, my Instagram post, my YouTube post, #legacy list. If you give me the permission, I'm not going to steal it from you, but I'm going to use it. It's like if I go to your house and I leave my bag in the airplane and you tell me, hey, bro, I got a pair of shoes right there. You want to wear it? I'm going to wear the hell out of it. Ashley Martinez, welcome. Welcome to the life. I don't think I've ever heard of you, Ashley. If you're new, appreciate you being here. Whoever's watching, if you're in here, appreciate you. And hit that thumbs up so YouTube can send the notifications, because I hate the new system. But Ashley Martinez, kid is sharp. Gotta fight somebody. Gotta fight somebody, homie. Listen, Shakur Stevens is sharp. Shakur Stevens possess the tools needed to become very, very good. I'm not ready to call it great yet because he's still a kid, still young in his career. Shakur Stevens is growing. Shakur Stevens from 126 moved up to 130, has issues even making 130. He barely scratched the scales. They had to take some stuff off just so he can make the 130. And he's still a kid. That body's still developing. As the days go by and he grows more, I can see Shakur Stevens ending his career 147, possibly 154. Possibly 154. Let me repeat that. Possibly 154. I'm just not ready to say he's top 10 pound for pound, people. You know how much that cheapens our sport? The fact that we got a kid that, let's be honest, hasn't done nothing great in the sport, and we already want to throw him up there in the top 10 pound per pound. I'm telling you, some of these retired boxers that hold this commentating jobs, this broadcasters jobs, they have to get that little noise from the network, from the promotional companies. They have to get instructions of what to say in order to drive people's thinking, the way people see a fighter, right? Because if I can manipulate the way you see a fighter and I can manipulate in a positive view, then next time when we start putting these fighters in the pay-per-view, there's a good chance you're going to pay to watch that fighter because we've already placed them in here. Say it ain't so, right? So I'm not hating on the kid. I'm just being a realist. I actually enjoyed the kid fight. Last night, the only reason, and I don't want to jump, matter of fact, let's keep that there for when I go into him. Because to me, the kid is good. Very, very, very good. Just not that top 10 mythical pound per pound. Nopal. ESPN guys are always the biggest company. Yeah. I've noticed that even in the ESPN Deportes guys, Dan Marquez be on some, for real. Oh, what's that show? I think the show takes place in Mexico, where Canelo went in there and told the guy, yo, you don't even know boxing. I'm trying to think of that show's name. Anyway, bro, that show is so hyped. Hype job. That show, the guy in there, that guy that used to be really fat, and then he cut all that weight, that blonde, curly hair looking Mexican dude. I forgot his name. He don't know nothing about no boxing. And then when he talks boxing, he wants to argue with you like he created the sport of boxing. Right? And then you get all these fighters like Marquez, for example, that got knowledge. A fighter that was under the banner of Nacho Beristain, a guy who knew boxing. And then he want to be blowing all that smoke. That right there should tell you that it's all network talk. Hey, before you get in cameras, when you get into this fight, and make sure you gotta include these comments, you gotta include this narrative, because we gotta get that kid moving up. Because the promoters, the promoters and the network are putting some money down. So I'm simply trying to tell you, boxing fan, identify those things. And when you see that clout, don't ride in it. Get your own clout. Because it's always good to see the masses from out. It's always good to be that lone sheep, that lone strong sheep that's looking at the masses, right? Right? You don't want to get in the masses sometimes, people. Let's see. Let's go back to Nopal. Hell yeah, bro. I'm honored. It's yours. Hey, man, I appreciate it. It's yours. I'm just borrowing it, homie. It's yours. Okay? It's yours. Ashley Martinez. I've watched you for years, bro. I love Rigondo too. Okay, why do I not remember you, Ashley? I'm very sorry. But you do know that I took a 7-year break. So there's a lot of people. Make sure that if you are still subscribed to me, that activation, see, YouTube OG, all that new stuff. That little bell thing, and choose the all option. Yeah, I love Rigo. Rigo's a sad story though. There's a lot. I had a conversation with Ismael Salas after our interview, which I encourage you guys to go look at it. that the politics is so disgusting in the sport of boxing, man. Even amongst our own people. I will always envy the way Mexicans support Mexicans, even at a business level. I wish it would happen that way with Cubans. But we come in here, we want to cut our throats. We want to cut our throats, and then we want to sit back and say, well, why aren't Cubans succeeding? Well, damn, because they got the skills. But then when it's time to push them forward, you're not doing what it takes to push them forward. Golpes, is that what the yeah, golpes. That, I guess that's what. Man, those dudes don't know nothing about no boxing. Especially that dude, man. I can't stand that dude. What is his name? That white Mexican with that used to be fat, and he's like so weird with a high pitched voice. He gets into arguments about everything, soccer, and I guess that's what he's paid to do. I guess they tell him, go out there and just be as obnoxious as you can possibly be, right? But that's what I'm saying, people. I'm not hating on fighters. I'm simply inviting you to create your own conclusions about a fighter, to start exercising, bench pressing your boxing knowledge so you can develop boxing knowledge muscles, so you can create judgment for your own, because at the end of the day, they don't pay your pay-per-view. It comes out of your pocket. Say it ain't so, homie. It comes out of, man, I'm telling you guys. Boxing, we need to save this sport, man, because you see everything that's happening just to bring attention to the sport. You know, YouTubers versus legendary fighters. You know, Sulayman Abu Malik. It reminds me of HBO. Man, I'm so glad HBO is not broadcasting boxing anymore. That Jim Lampley dude. See, let me just give 30 seconds to this guy, Jim Lampley. His voice, exquisite. His passion, exquisite. His narrative, like my brother GFunky says, dumpster juice. Dumpster juice. That's a phrase that, unlike Nopal, I'm not gonna take that away from my homie GFunk. He's got to keep that. He's got his own thing going on. He's got to keep it. Dumpster juice. A los golpes, bro. Yeah, that's what Ashley was telling me. That's what Faitelson. That's the guy's name, Faitelson, of course. David Faitelson. David Faitelson, let me be the one to tell you, if by some reason, by accident of anything you ever see this, usted no sabe nada de boxeo. You don't know about boxing, homie. Facts. Cayden, I see you, fam. Keep up the great work. Cayden, you from Boxing Bros. Am I correct? I think you're from Boxing Bros, which, let me tell you, if you are, I really enjoy y'all's channels, dude. I really enjoy y'all's channels. When I see all y'all killing each other in there, but speaking truth, I honestly enjoy your channel. But I think Cayden is from Boxing Bros. Let's see. Sulayman Abu Malik again. I'm glad too, bro. Yeah, man. Because here's the deal. Merchant was worse, but you know, Larry Merchant was just that. Was old, man. He had that, you know. I don't want to go into that, but you know what I mean. He had that mentality from back in them days. You know, that you know what I mean. I don't want to go into it because I don't like playing that game, especially when relate to sports. Like I said, I like to use that term only when it's obvious and identifiable, but the dude is gone. Yes, sir. Hey, man, welcome. I appreciate the support, homie. I appreciate the support. Keep doing a great job on your channel. This is what's giving me fire today. This is why after 7 years, I came back to the YTBC, because I still love the sport, and it's the rise of certain channels that are willing to stay outside of the narrative that's being pushed. While other channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers are willing to create a lie and push 30 videos, more spews for views, there are still that few. There's still that few that are saying, I'm riding alone on this. I'm going to create my own thoughts. I'm going to investigate this on my own. I'm going to talk about it. I don't want to be a follower. I want to be a leader of my thoughts. That is why I'm back, because now I have something to relate to. Back in them days, it was insanity what I was going through with all this YouTube channels just jumping on the narrative wagon for views, for subscriptions. You ain't going to get that here. At Raw Boxing TV, in the same manner I used to give it to you 7 years ago, you're going to get it now. And like I said, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm going to be led by some sort of emotions, and I expect you guys to correct me. Hey, homie, you being a little biased, bro. Because at the end of the day, I know boxing. I coach boxing. I've trained boxing. I've taught boxing. I've been a boxer myself, but I'm still human. And I make mistakes. And I'm good. But you guys are going to make me great. I guarantee you that. Let me see. Malik. Merchant was the type of guy. Let's see. Merchant was the type of guy to go against Roy Jones or George Foreman analysis of a fight. That's correct. But the thing is with the same thing is with that dude from that show, that Mexican show, a los golpes. The man has never put on a pair of gloves in his hands. The man has never been inside a ring on an actual fight. Never. But he will have the audacity to argue with a boxer about boxing. Well, I've been watching boxing for 30 years. So? Well, you don't understand. I got my cousins are boxers. So? Well, you don't understand. I eat, breathe, think, dream boxing. So, at the end of the day, you cannot argue with a boxer because he has the edge of not only knowing as much, if not more than you, but also having the experience of having done it himself in the past. That's just a fact. That is just a fact. Malik, I see what you mean. Yeah, man. That is just a fact. That's right. HCP is the home of the real boxing talk. Man, los hispanos causando pánico. Hispanics causing panic. You know what I love about Hispanics causing panic, bro? That even though the name is Hispanics causing panic, everyone's invited. I've been in that forum. And it ain't just Hispanics. I love it. Y'all keep doing your thing, man. Let's move on to the fight because y'all got me reeled up on that subject. I like that. I like that you guys are fighting me on this. I like that. The second fight of the night that I want to talk about is a fight that let's call it the upset. This is the second fight I want to talk.
Nakatani has gotten by far the best of it in the last 3 rounds. He told it. Yeah.
Boom. That's where it started. Okay, so I interviewed Ismael Salas, I believe a week or so ago. And he tells me that the problem with Vergejos is mental, as well as Robesi Ramirez and Ugas. It's mental. It's not boxing skills. It's mental. We have a Vergejo that comes out blasting and does what nobody has ever done, which is to put Nakatani in the ground, right? As a boxer, you got to know. You have to start identifying what is it that you're doing right that's working, what is it that you're doing wrong that's working, and when you get back to the corner, what the corner is telling you. You have to try your best to follow that. Never lose the focus. You see, Ismael Salas told me that when Nakatani was his fighter, Nakatani was always that one-dimensional fighter that he could never break out. But the one thing Nakatani has, and it's true because he has shown it, Nakatani is just a tough, I'm getting ready to die in the ring type of fighter. And last night, Nakatani did what a boxer is supposed to do, which analyze his opponent. Yeah, you're beating me to the punch. Okay, cool. Yeah, you've dropped me a couple times. That's also cool. But now I'm starting to see that when I come to you, you keep moving back in a straight line without giving me angles, without stepping to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm the longer guy. since I'm the tough guy, the resilient guy, the relentless guy, then I'm gonna come forward in that straight line with my longer arms, with my pressure, and I'm gonna start bringing it to you. And it started working. If you look at the fight again, you're able to hear Ismael Salas tell him, "Mijo, dame ángulo, man, give me some angles. You keep moving the back in the straight line. You know, beat him to the punch, move, catch him as he's coming in." He wasn't doing it, and all it took was, I think, a round and a half from the time he got those instructions in his head, a round and a half to get knocked down. A round and a half, because Nakatani had a goal in mind. Nakatani, his goal in mind is to get in there with Teofimo Lopez all over again. And to do so, he felt like he needed to make a statement. And he made a statement. Now, post in the comment section if you disagree with me. My opinion is that after Teofimo Lopez fights his mandatory, I wouldn't mind, in the same manner I don't mind seeing Ruiz in there again with Joshua. I wouldn't mind seeing Nakatani in there. At the end of the day, since we're working on that legacy list, last night he did what a fighter must do to solidify himself once again to go against the man on that division. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You know I'm not wrong. Yeah, it may not be the fight people want to see. Yeah, it may not be the fight promoters want to sell. Yeah, it may not be the fight that the networks want to put through. But at the end of the day, in the real world, I think the man deserves another shot at Teofimo Lopez. And I'm not saying Teofimo Lopez lost against him. No. It was just a very competitive fight. That first fight was very, very competitive. And that's what boxing is about. Boxing is about making adjustments. The man came off a layoff of 17 months old, 17 months off. I think he had some injury in his orbital bone or his eye socket. Came back and did what he did last night and left there straight to the hospital because he was having eye pain. And he took a beating from Vergejo's. I texted GFunk, "Yo, Vergejo's on fire." I texted him. It was a great fight. To me, that was the most exciting fight last night. The most exciting fight last night. By the way, congratulations. I don't want to leave out Robeisy Ramirez. Congratulations on your victory, dude. Keep pushing forward. Keep listening to your coach. Close your ears to the streets. Close your ears to our peoples. The party ain't going to get you nowhere. It's the discipline, being a slave to the sport, that's putting food on your table. But Nakatani and Vergejo was the most exciting fight last night, because you saw a Vergejo that was coming with mean intentions, but mentally broke down when he seen that he was throwing everything in the pot and his opponent kept coming forward. And as a professional boxer, that is the time to dig in. You got to dig in and show why you're there. Chicano Prophet, great point. Doesn't take too long for a falling fighter to get back into the man. Listen, I want you guys to understand me when I talk about boxing, professional boxing. I'm not always going to be focused just on the money aspect of it. I always want to focus and give credit, deserving credit, to the fighters. Because without fighters, we don't have professional boxing. We don't have that money that they want to move. So the ideal here is to feed positivity to the fighters. And that's just the mature me now talking, right? I think Nakatani did what a fighter must do to get back in there. That is just a fact. Ramirez looked good last night. Yes, Ramirez, unfortunately, like I told you on one of my lives, to me, he escaped a little too late the island, so his time is limited. He's got to become world champ within the next 2 to 3 years. He's got to defend that belt a couple of times, move to 130, and see what he could do at 130. I personally think he will not be as successful in 130 as he could be in 126 due to size difference. You know, that's just me, though. That's just me. Why? Why do I say that? Because Gamboa was a lot more explosive, faster, more powerful, right? 122, 126. But then he moved to 130 and did one fight at 130, didn't do anything. Moved to 130 fight, and the rest is history. But who knows? Who knows? We just don't know, you know. So, anyways, I did a poll last night, and I asked, "Will Vergejo ever be champion of the world?" Right? 84% of you, the options were yes, maybe, or hell no. 84% of you chose hell no, and that kind of shocked me because Vergejo last night didn't lose against a bum. Vergejo last night lost against a guy that comes from that line. I don't know if you guys heard what Salas told me about the Japanese gyms. It's kind of like the dojo thing with the samurais. Once you're in the school, you belong to the school, and you have to be willing to die to represent that school. That's what these Japanese fighters do, man. They got that mentality. I'm here to die for my dojo, for my gym, for my coach, for my peepers. And the way Nakatani fought last night, man, that man was going down. He was coming forward. He was able to adjust. He was able to capitalize off of Vergejo's mistake. He was able to break Vergejo mentally. And you saw what happened. Boxing is beautiful, man. Boxing is beautiful. Boxing is a sport of the unknown. Boxing is a sport where tomorrow Logan Paul gets in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, lands a lucky shot, and knocks him out. I love boxing, right? Everybody thought Vergejo was going to walk through that kid. I thought so too. And then boxing slaps me again and tells me, this is why you got to love me, because I'm always going to bring you something that you ain't expecting. GFunky, what do you think about Ramirez going down to 122? See, the thing with Ramirez, when you look at his body type, you also don't want a fighter to drain himself. I think Ramirez at this age, now if he was 18, maybe. If he was 19, maybe. At this age, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just questioning the performance, the rehydration, how he would feel doing all of that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's because of the age, because of the late start in the professional ranks. I would question that. I wouldn't advise it to one of my fighters that would start this late in the professional ranks at this age to, hey, I know you're 126, but let's go down to 122. I would just leave him where he's at right now. I think he needs to become the man of that division. Now, if he is offered, say, 2 fights and then a fight for the belt, yeah, I'll tell him let's go down there for three fights and see how you feel the first fight. Then we'll see how you feel the second fight. And then if you feel good, let's go for that belt. And if you still feel good, then yeah, defend it one time and then let's come back up and get that belt at the 126. It's something that the team has to talk about, but also the promoters and all of that good stuff. They got to talk about, hey, listen, at 126, I can make you champ, but it's going to be a little more work. We think that you can be more dominant at 122. You want to try making the weight. It's something that the team has to sit down. They have to talk about it, but it's not a bad idea. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, it's a little harsh. Chicano Prophet. Nakatani had heart, something that is more lacking in boxing that is used. Man, back in the days, whatever happened to the Chavez, to the Kid Gavilans of the sport, to the Muhammad Alis of the sport? How many times you seen Muhammad Ali hit the ground and come back up? To the George Foremans of the sport, to the Durans of the sport, to the Oscar de la Hoya of the sport, to the Maromero Paez of the sport, to the Finito Lopez of the sport. What? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the Genaro Hernandez, rest in peace, of the sport? To the Chico Corrales, rest in peace, of the sport? Whatever happened to all that? It's gone, homie. That's why I'm saying we need to rescue boxing by demanding what we want to see. If you're putting up a pay-per-view fight I don't want to see, I'm not buying it. And it might take years But if everybody eventually gets in that same wagon, promoters might start seeing something that they don't like and they might have to do something about it. They might have to do something about it. Fighters need to be compensated a little better to give them the incentives to train harder. Because let me tell you something, it's not easy being a fighter 9-0 with 7 knockouts and making $100 a round. And then out of that, you got to cut 33% to your manager, 30% to your promoter, 10 to 15% to your coach. Then you got to give Uncle Sammy's cut. And then you got enough to go to the McDonald's drive-thru and get you a soda and a small fry. So we got to incentivize these fighters to give them something to look for. Give them something to look for. Pay them so they can reach down, and not be like, well, damn, why am I taking all these shots for $400? But if you're selling a venue with 5,000 people, and you're selling hot dogs and beers and burgers and chips, and you're paying that fighter $3,000, now he's looking to the future. Now he wants to fight harder to get more than $3,000 next time. People, promoters are a blessing and a curse. That's why I like what Mayweather did when he left Top Rank, became his own man. That's why I'm liking what Canelo is doing. Hey, listen, you ain't trying to work with me the way I want it. I'm taking you to court. He took him to court. He won. And guess what he does? I won the top guy at 168. And all the big fights you guys want, they gonna come. Believe it or not, in the same way musicians fight to own the originals of their record, boxers should eventually strive for the same things. Navarrete might be the guy Ramirez goes after. Navarrete has the WBO, and it might be. It might be. I have to get educated on Navarrete because I came back to the boxing scene and I've only seen a few highlights from him. So I'm not ready to make no predictions on it yet. I want to see a couple of his fights. I want to get educated on what he does, and then I might be able to break down that that potential future fight. But the smaller weight divisions are always lit with people wanting to fight. So it's not going to be an easy ride for Ramirez. It's just not. By the way, guys, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying that you guys are bringing out your questions, bringing out your comments, bringing out whether you agree with me or not. I don't care. We engaging. This is what I want to see. And what I don't like seeing is when I upload a video where I have no way of coming right back at you, and you're like the keyboard warriors, and then you hide, right? No, right here. Let's keep it raw on the mic. Keep it raw on the keyboard. Continuing. Anyway, upset of the night, but also fight of the night was Vergejo versus Nakatani. Now, let's move to the beast, the Puerto Rican sledgehammer, the guy from Brooklyn or Bronx. I don't know where he's from. Mr. Edgar Berlanga.
He told us yesterday, there is no doubt I'm not getting stopped. Thudding right hands, 3 straight right hands, doing damage.
16 knockouts. If you put the man's time combined together, every little minute that he's fought in each round and combine them all together, he ain't even been through 10 solid rounds yet. Yeah, he's been 16 rounds, but time combined, he ain't even been through 10 rounds, 10 solid rounds. Now they're going to continue to do this. And my answer to you is, it doesn't matter. I can already see that you're probably like, well, Rangers, he's probably dropped 16 nobodies. But at the end of the day, how many good fighters can say that they were able to drop 16 nobodies in a row in the first round? Not many. Absolutely not many. The man is doing it. Now, to be honest with you, I do think he's got to be a little more disciplined, because I didn't like the fact that He arrived late at the press conference. I mean, you're not a cash cow yet. You're not the man yet. You're just not. And now all of a sudden we gotta wait on you. No, we don't want to wait on you, homie. You need to be there, showing us that you want to be this guy, showing us that, hey, I'm gonna take this sport responsibly. You need to be there, not only knocking people out, but being responsible, professional with what you do. But let's talk about Berlanga, shall we? Shouts out to the Puerto Ricans. I'm glad that the Puerto Ricans are having a killer on the roster. It's been a while. It's been a while, man, for Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans, man. Now, a lot of people are saying, and this is where I go back to the boxing commentators. A lot of people are saying this is the next Miguel Cotto because people's going to love him. Watch this, though. But remember that part of the reasons people love Miguel Cotto wasn't only his boxing, was his humility. Part of the reasons people love Tito Trinidad was his charisma, was his professionality. The question is, will Berlanga bring the same thing, or will he bring us an indisciplined person? Will he bring us the thug behavior with the knockouts? And if so, how much are people going to like him, or how much are people going to hate him? Now, he might play the villain, and the villains are always welcome in the sport of boxing, right? But to compare him to Miguel Cotto, when it comes to popularity, we're not there yet. Yeah, he's making hype because he's doing something wonderful. 16 knockouts, and he's doing it on the Puerto Rican roster. I that's great. I love it. My advice to him: let's be a little more professional. Malik and Tito and Cotto fought a lot of good fighters. Correct. Now let's be fair with the dude. He's just starting. They building him real good. They stepping up his competition a little bit, you know. Is he ready for Cotto? For Canelo? Hell no. He says he is. I say hell no. His next fight should be Chavez Jr. Again, let me repeat that. His next fight should be Chavez Jr. They hate each other. These two dudes hate each other. His next fight should be Chavez Jr., a guy who he's going to be able to land on. And if he knocks Chavez Jr. in the first round, then we can start believing, wait a minute, he might reach and maybe break Edwin Valero's record of 19 consecutive first-round knockouts. Remember that killer from Venezuela, Edwin Valero? Shame, man. That's shame what happened to him, man. But I don't want to ruin this wonderful life with that tragedy. 7469, welcome. I do remember you. Cotto was always humble and showed respect for his opponents. Yes, you know, the only time I saw Cotto really lit up, and even while being lit, he remained up to a certain level respectful of his opponent, was in that rematch versus Margarito. Now, keep in mind, I don't care what your thoughts are about the first fight, the hand wraps, whether they were blocks, whether they weren't blocks, whatever the case was. The mentality there was revenge, was I hate you. But even in the midst of my hate, because people is watching me, I'm going to be a little respectful. And so, Cotto was the man. Cotto was the good guy and Margarito the villain. You remember Margarito? Pues estás chillando nomás. Y'all remember that? Margarito was a beast, though. Margarito, I don't care what he done, if he whatever. He was a beast, dude. G-Funk. Tito was one of my favorite fighters. One of my favorite fighters ever. Tito was and is one of my favorite fighters ever. Again, good boxing and the charisma. The charisma of that fighter was always on point. Malik, again, It would be very interesting. What would be very interesting? Refresh me. Talk to me. Chavez versus Chavez Jr. versus Berlanga. Is that what you're talking about? Because if that's what you're talking about, I agree with you. I agree with you. Malik, Chavez can take a punch. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We want to put this power to the test. Put him in against Chavez. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Chavez, even though he's become somewhat of a punching bag, Chavez, even though he's, in my opinion, with all the respect that I can have, somewhat of a stain in that legendary legacy, Chavez is still somewhat somebody good to have in your record, especially when you only have 16 fights. And if you could put him in there against Chavez, say he knocks Chavez out in the first round, he'll give you reasons to believe that he'll probably go past the 19th. He'll probably break Edwin Valero's record, right? So the question is, can the man box? And the answer is yes. If the man was to ever fight somebody that forces him to bring his boxing skills out, he will bring them out. Because Berlanga had a very good success. Excuse me, the old man got to get some coffee. I'm not that 23-year-old anymore. I'm not that 27-year-old anymore that you guys last saw at the YTBC. This brother just turned 35. 4 kids. Four kids. Half Cubans, half Mexicans. Ah, what a mix. What a mix. But that's what I'm saying, though. Berlanga can come in since they... Listen, watch this, though. Him and Chavez Jr. got this little back and forth beef on the social media. A good promoter will grab that and kind of promote it to put it like as a co-main event of a pretty decent pay-per-view. And if Berlanga knocks Chavez Jr. out, blast him out of there, which I doubt it, but it's boxing again. The dude will climb not 1 step, but 2 or 3 steps. Now, mind you, you got to take it easy with that Canelo talk, man. I don't know if you're serious or if you just cloud chasing, homie. You got to take it easy with that Canelo talk. Maybe in 3 years from now, maybe 4, maybe 2, but not next year. You're not ready for Canelo, man. You get that stuff out of there. Get the duster. Get that stuff out of there. Chicano Prophet. That's a good fight, but I think Chavez will survive the first round. There's good reasons to believe that. There's very good reasons to believe that, man. I'm just saying that would be a nice next step in his career, tougher competition with a little better name. Think about that. A little better name. A little better name. Although Chavez Jr., I think the last I heard, he's not allowed to fight in the U.S. until he's able to justify what the reasons he wasn't able to randomly test. I think that 3 or 4 times they went to get him. And so I have to really look into that. Don't hold me as a fact. That's just kind of like what I've heard. I have to really dig into that and see what happens. 74-69. Valero was a monster. Valero was a monster. Valero will roll your eyes back, give you seizures with both hands. Valero wasn't, oh, what a right hand. Or Valero was like, watch out. Either of them can put you out. Either of them can put you out. A punching bag, so true. Yeah. Talking about punching back Chavez Jr., right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm being real. GFunky, my homie. Chavez Jr. might quit. Oh, dude, you tripping, dude. You can't do that, man. Come on, man. Nah, GFunky, don't do it like that. I know the man has some history, but no, let's not do it like that, man. Let's not do it like that. I always rooted for Chavez Jr., but he let me down. You know when Chavez Jr. let me down? Versus La Maravilla Martinez. Now, don't get me wrong. He fought, but he abandoned the game plan. He allowed Martinez to do whatever he wanted at will. And then he wasn't willing to give the man his credit. Something his father was always good at. His father had a pride, but his father was able to know, hey, yo, I took a whooping. I took a whooping. No, yo no me rajo, but I took a whooping. 74-69. Spencer Crawford, who wins? Right now, to be honest with you, if I had to put them both in there, see, in a chess match, the guy with the most patience is always going to win. Whoever has more patience. When you get two chess players with good skills, the one with more patience, more calculations to the game, is always going to win. The thing about this fight is they're both good, but one has more patience than the other, while the one with least patience possesses a bit more skills and a bit more sharper than the one with the patience. Who's the one with the patience? His name is Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford don't want none of that smoke right now. I hate to say it because I sound like part of that damn whatever they call themselves, new media or whatever they are. But track with me for a second. Who has Crawford fought that hasn't been, let me put this in a respectful way because I actually love that fighter. I love Crawford. Who has Crawford fought that hasn't been already smashed by somebody else? Put it on the comments. Answer that question. Who has he fought that hasn't been smashed by either Spence Jr., Sean Porter, and now Crawford's talking about, nah, I'm going to go back to 135. Nobody wants to smoke, but you got Sean Porter calling you out. And that's your mandatory? Talk to me. Mean Machine, okay, one. Who else? Who else? Now, let's flip the question. How many fighters has Errol Spence fought? They were coming good. They were top solidified champs, or perhaps undefeated, or perhaps very good. What was the name? January Jones Jr. Thank you. Thank you so much. Here, I'm going to skip a few comments just to put this one up there. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be back. Like I said, I'm happy about the sport now, happy about some of the YTBC members that are choosing to stay outside of certain narratives, and that hypes me up to be back. I'm glad that you're still with me. And stay subscribed if you want to, check that little belt, that new YouTube stuff, and select all if you can. For those of you that are watching, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it. But let me see. GFunk likes Crawford, and it's fair. I just like Spence a little better. And here is why. I like Spence versus Crawford. I like Sean Porter versus Crawford because Sean Porter ain't going to give you no time to think. Sean Porter's not going to give you no time to sit and analyze him. Sean Porter's going to come full throttle from the beginning to the end. And you have to possess a very, very good game plan to keep him at that mid-range and give him angles. You have to. My question is, why isn't Crawford, who wants Danny, who wants Spence Jr., who wants Pacquiao, why isn't Crawford fighting his mandatory on Sean Porter? Now, tell me in the comment section that you would not enjoy a Porter and Crawford fight, because that would be a great fight for boxing. And then if by some reason he dispatches Porter out of there, who is to say that he doesn't deserve a fight against Spence Jr. or Cash Cow Pacquiao? Right now, unfortunately, and I hate to put it this way, but again, we got to mix the business aspect of the sport. We can't escape it. Right now, Spence Jr. deserves more a fight with Pacquiao for that cash cow than your boy Crawford. Not to mention that what he's done after coming out of that accident was impressive. It was. I'm not taking nothing from Crawford. I'm simply saying you got to fight a little better opposition to say, hey, I've done what these guys have done and better. And they avoided me. No, you don't. No, you haven't. They fought better oppositions than you. They have fought better oppositions than you. Even if you fought the same guy, chances are they caught him in better shape than you did. So let's keep moving forward. But nevertheless, it's boxing, and Crawford is a master. Crawford's a master, and boxing will always tell you, I'll give you surprises. 74-69. I feel like Crawford waits too much. and a little slow compared to Spence. Spence is relentless. That's what I'm saying. See, you're talking Spence. But can you imagine Crawford versus Sean Porter? Who's more relentless? Talk to me. We're preaching right now. Who's more relentless? Spence or Sean Porter? Talk to me. Because if you ask me, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody is pedal to the metal like Sean Porter. Sean Porter has a fuel tank of 300 gallons for a 12-round fight. 74-69. I appreciate the engagement, man. You're very, very busy. I like that. I love both fighters, though. I love Crawford. I love Spence. I love Porter. I love Thurman. I love Ugas. Don't forget about Ugas. Don't forget that the reason Porter is a champion is because the judges decided to keep him as a champion. Because if you go back, Ugas beat him that night. And somehow we're keeping Ugas in the dark. And Ugas beat Crawford in the amateurs. And somehow we're talking about a rematch between Robeisy Ramirez and Stevens, but we don't want to talk about a rematch between Ugas and Crawford. Call it bias. I'm calling it facts. Actual events. Malik. Spence doesn't seem to want to fight him, though. I don't like how both Terrence and Errol are talking right now. I don't like it either. But I think if you ask me, that Spence is going after the bag. Because Spence feels like I've already owned the division. I'm the owner of this division. So I need that bag, and then I'm going to continue. He tweeted the other day, though, everybody needs to be patient. Everyone will get their chance. I promise. And all we can do now is believe him. And then if he doesn't do so, then we call him out for it. GFunky. Crawford versus Porter. Ooh, that's what I'm saying. We got a patient, slow starter with a lot of skills against a fast starter with a lot of skills, with a lot of power, and that is a top 5 welterweight right now as we speak. And I want to see, because Crawford has never faced that pressure. And the only time he faced a similar pressure, but at a little slower level, he was against a very small fighter who was coming from 13-month layoff. A fighter that didn't belong in there, from 126 pounds, Gamboa. Gamboa schooled him for 4 rounds, 4.5, until he dropped his hands because he was tired. And then Crawford made adjustment, switched to a southpaw, and put in work on the little dude. And he did so with skills and minor pressure, constantly being in his face. 126-pounder, ring rusted, did that to a younger Crawford. It's curious to see what will happen if a Porter gets in there. And that's why I think he's not trying to risk it. I'm not necessarily think he's ducking. I'm simply saying he's probably being very careful and smart about his next decision. I do not like that 135 move, though. Because if you move back to 135, then people will have all the right in the world to say, you're ducking. you're ducking. And it's going to be hard for guys like me that love boxing to defend fighters like that. Malik, that's a great fight. Yes. G-Funk is a great matchmaker, man. He just doesn't know it yet. He just doesn't know it yet. You like Porter? It's fair. It's fair to like Porter in that fight. It's fair to like Crawford too. I'm just saying it would be a great fight. But he's wild. But that's my point. He's a fast starter, threat pedal to the metal, relentless, right? And if he chooses to implement skills, he has them. Let's not forget about that. I feel Crawford can time Porter easily. I don't know. It all depends on what distance the fight takes place. Because if Porter stays in mid-range or inside, the timing game, you can put that back in the closet. It's not going to be effective at all. You're not going to be able to time a fighter like that at the mid-range or in. You're going to have to either go at it with him or just try to find a way to keep him at range where you can then time him. So, good idea, but let's hold on that for now. Just my opinion. I love both fighters. I love your opinion. I love both fighters. Your opinions are welcome. This is what makes channels like this one, channels like others, like G-Funks, like D-Styles, great. Is people like you that are willing to keep it PG and respectful with a focused eye on the sport. Malik, he can go down to 135 anyway. Maybe he can't. Maybe he's just saying that to scare people or to scare the other fighters of like, dude, we got to fight this guy now. I don't know. I doubt it because of his age. But you never know. So let's talk about the last fight that I want to talk about so that I know some of y'all need to go. I got to go because I got to get up early. I'm grinding for you guys. I'm still putting in 55, 60 hours a week at work because I'm a feeder driver for UPS and I don't do the package division. I do the air division, which is a tougher one. That's why I'm constantly in different places and I can't abandon that job. It's that cheddar though, 6-figure cheddar. I can't abandon that. So that's why you guys see me sometimes tired and yanning and not focused and dragging my words because I'm like tired. But I'm grinding for you guys. So because I'm enjoying this, you know. The last fight we want to talk about let's talk about Shakur Stevens because there's some things I wanted to say and then about the comments earlier and you know, let's just go into the dude because I've already seen a lot of comments on internet talking about he's boring, talking about he doesn't know how to finish a fighter, talking about he ain't got no power. My question to you is, how do you knock somebody out that doesn't want to fight and only wants to come and survive? Answer that question if you've ever been in a ring. When you have a fighter that's not giving you anything to work off of, when you have a fighter that the minute you faint, he's already like stiff, trying to block every avenue, you just almost never can't succeed when looking for a knockout against a fighter with that mentality. Last night, when that first bell rang and that dude came at Stevens, I thought it was going to be a pretty decent fight. And then Stevens hit him back, countered, and you saw his demeanor change. He went in survival mode. Let's give the kid some time, man. Remember, he saved last night's card. He stepped up to the challenge. And that's what we want to see on young talents. Hey, listen, dude and dude cancel. I want it. I want in. No. I want in. Yeah, I want in. That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's the way it should be. So I personally think that Shakur Stevens, given the time, managed properly, managed well, will be a good fighter. Will be a good fighter. So that's what I wanted to say about Shakur Stevens. No, again, Timothy Bradley. No, 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 no. He is not top pound per pound, whatever that means. He's not pound per pound, which will pretty soon be legacy list, will have to require a lot more than looking slick and looking pretty. Pound per pound is not a place for Shakur Stevens just yet. He's doing what he's supposed to do as a young fighter, and his career is being managed correctly. So let's give him some time. You can't eat. You can throw the good steak into the grill, but you can't eat it before it's cooked. Got to give it some time. Let that kid cook in his career. Malik, talk about fighters getting labeled as boring. Why did you think about? What do you think about Haney performance versus Gamboa? If I tell you, you're gonna say that I'm being biased, and I'm not. So that's when I have to kind of be careful, not because I'm scared to say the truth, but because of how I articulate my thoughts. Because at the end of the day, that my ultimate goal here is not just share my points of views in boxing, but it's to teach you guys something. As an ex-fighter, as an ex-active coach, and partial coach right now, from time to time, just going to a gym and helping out the brother-in-law and stuff like that. My ultimate goal is to teach a little bit of boxing. So it wasn't an exciting performance. To me, there's never a boring match because there's lives on the line. But I think he should have blown Gamboa out of there. That fight should have never gone to distance. Just like Tank David should have never gone to whatever it was, 11th or 12th or 9th or 10th round with Gamboa. But it's kind of curious. Watch this. Watch how the politics in boxing works. And now you can call me, whoever can call me biased. Notice how all these Cuban fighters, when they were in their prime, it was hard to get them in the ring. And now that they're past their prime, Gamboa has gotten 2 back-to-back good fights, paying him higher he's ever made. Why? Politics. Let's get that name on your resume. He's no longer dangerous. You gonna tell me I'm wrong? Because I'll tell you I'm not. I'll tell you I'm not. What I think about that fight, Haney did what he had to do to win, but no, not impressive. He's not ready for Teofimo. He shouldn't even be calling out Teofimo. He shouldn't be calling out Teofimo Lopez. Haney really and truly should be like, hey, dude, let me get that Lomachenko fight. And let me see if I can cap him. And if Haney beats Lomachenko, now we can say, Teofimo, get your game up because it's time. It's time to get in there with Haney. But as of now, Haney doesn't have the right to call out Lomachenko. I mean, to call out Teofimo Lopez and talk about he's ducking me. And then you got all these boxing channels talking about, Teofimo Lopez is ducking Haney. On the meantime, Teofimo Lopez's dad goes gangster on Haney's dad and gets him on a live stream. Hey, you're talking about we ducking you? Is that what you're saying? And what does Haney's dad said? No, sir, we've never said that. That's not what we implied. What a difference, huh? What a difference. And then after he says that, he goes on Aki's live interview, and then he talk about, yeah, they're ducking us. Which one is it? The chicken or the egg? Which one is it? Let's be real, son. January Jones Jr. I got to tell you, January, I really find your name very interesting. January Jones Jr. January, I like that. My kids all got weird names. My wife's from Mexico, from Veracruz. She was born in El DF. I call her Chilanga. She hates it. But she put some weird names to our kids. Jamel, Jasser, Kareem. I like your name though. Let's see what you're saying. Shakur is doing just fine at his point in his career, in my opinion, in my honest opinion. He is highly skilled and he is still not fully grown. Although he is an adult, I think the knockouts will come 100%. And like I was telling people, this kid is not going to stay at 130 pretty long. This kid is going to be 135 in less than a year. He's growing too fast. He's becoming a man. The power will be developed. And so I think that my wife is looking at me because she don't like it when I said that she was born in the El DF. She like, I'm from Veracruz. But I agree. I think that the kid is growing. The kid is very skilled. And let's just let the steak cook, man. And we'll eat it when the time's right. People want to be rushing fighters all the time. Oh, he's pound per pound. Oh, he's ready for the big leagues. No, he's not. Right now, he's a very hot prospect. Very. Let's make sure that he becomes a good fighter. You know? G-Funk. Stevenson is very talented, but not tested yet. He's not. He's looking for the smoke. Let's just wait till he gets in there and see if his lungs can process it, though. You know? But I like what I'm seeing from him. Like I said last night, man, he did what he had to do against a fighter that didn't want to get knocked out. So let's stop saying that he's boring and all that stuff. I hate that kind of talk. That's the kind of talk, part of the reasons I left the YTBC. Two, that's the kind of talk that's destroying the boxing today. So, and that's the kind of talk that's even used by commentators, promoters, other boxers. They're biting the same bandwagon, same narrative. Let's stop it, man. The kid is not tested yet. You're right. The kid will get tested. As of now, I like what I see. Let's let him progress. Haney was supposed to send Gamboa into retirement, but gave him more life by going 12. Facts, homie. Facts. That's for you right there, GFunky. Facts. Okay? Facts. And he's trying to say that Teofimo Lopez is ducking him. And that's not the truth. You got to show something, brother. You have to show something to say you've earned that. Teofimo Lopez fought very good fights to get to where he's at. And no, the fact that Haney's not getting a Lopez fight has nothing to do with racism, people. I've seen that in some channels. Let's be very careful with that kind of talk. Okay? There's a lot of things that goes into boxing besides race. There's a lot of under the table negotiations. There's a lot of get in front of the camera and say this so we can start cooking this steak. Come on, people. Let's keep the sport where it needs to be. Let's leave that kind of talk out there. Don't even hit thumbs up on those videos, man. Call those peoples out. Let's start protecting that word. Let's not desensitize that word, because that word is too important. It allows us to identify a certain group of individuals seeking to do harm to us. So, no, let's not mix that. It's just pure business right now between those two fighters. January Jones. Those are great names you said for your children. I am a girl who loves Roy Jones Jr. I can see that. Jones Jr. in your last name. And just try to be creative with my screen name. Very creative. Very creative. And who doesn't love Roy Jones Jr.? Mr. Unstoppable. Not untouchable, but unstoppable. Malik. I'm worried about Ryan Garcia versus Campbell. Not sure Ryan is ready for, but this division is fun. I don't want to give that up because my video is coming up. I'm going to be dropping a video on that here coming in the next day or two. So I'm sorry. I'm going to reserve that for the video, but I get what you're saying. So I encourage you to look out for that video. And but I'm gonna keep that one out for myself right now. But Ryan Garcia is another one that the kid is coming up. The kid is coming up. The kid is maturing. But I see, there I go. I got to stop myself. Let me tie my tongue. I don't want to talk about that fight. Nor do I want to talk about those fighters because my video is going to be dropping 74-69. Tyson Jones. I forgot to ask you about your thoughts. Look, on the real though, it was an exhibition match. Yeah, it was exciting. Tyson looked great. Roy Jones at 51 and being retired for 2 years. His hand speed as we speak is faster than a lot of current top 5 heavyweights. His hand speed. Tell me I'm wrong and I'll tell you that I'm not. And to see Mike Tyson bobbing and weaving, dipping and slipping, very easy, and making Roy Jones miss a lot of times, that was very impressive. I got to tell you. The man hadn't been in a ring for, I don't know, 13, 15 years. What did I think? I thought the fight was fun. Who won? If I had to do something, I would give it to Tyson. Roy Jones just, no. Yeah, he landed a few nice jabs, a few 1-2 combinations, and a lot of, but I love both fighters. They gave us something that we never got to see before. That was the purpose of that fight. It took our imaginations to a place where we wanted it to be, but it unfortunately had never happened. And I appreciate that. And the other fight I would appreciate in the Legends Only League is Tito Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya. Let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. Tito Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya, Legends Only. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Malik, I'll watch the video for sure. Yeah, man. I don't want to. I'm sorry, man. I would give you what I think, but if I do that, then I'm gonna have issues bringing some new things up in that video. So you're right. Yeah, man. GFunky Boxing. I was the biggest Roy fan back in the HBO days. Yes, back in the HBO days. Back when HBO was decent when it comes to boxing. Back when HBO was a bit more fair in the way they spoke about other fighters. Back when HBO was a bit more neutral in the way they spoke about up-and-coming fighters, about legends, about hot prospects. Back in those days. 74-69. I am crazy, but I think Tyson can take some of these current heavyweights. Oh, man, Tito Trinidad versus De La Hoya, I would love to see it. Look, you are not crazy. You are not crazy. I would think whoever thought you were wrong is crazy. But I put Tyson with a top 15 heavyweight right now, and he will beat him. I put Tyson with a top 10, maybe. I might be stretching a little bit. And he will beat him. Remember, the Tyson we saw was a Tyson with 15 years worth of rust. And Roy Jones Jr. said, every time that man hit me, it didn't matter what it hit me, it hurt. Even my head was hurting. Because the power is the last thing to leave. Reflex go, speed goes, stamina goes, power stays a little longer. It's like that little piece of bean that gets stuck in your teeth. And you're doing this, and it's that power. Power. So, listen, guys, I am having so much fun. And if it was up to me, I would be here 5 hours talking to you guys. But if I stay here 5 hours, tomorrow I'm gonna get in a wreck. God forbid. I gotta get some sleep. I have really enjoyed this live. You guys have been so active that I can honestly say this has been one of my favorite live, next to the interview with Ismael Salas, where we gave you guys the opportunity to ask him questions in a live. I'd like to encourage you to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, activate the notification bell. Be on the lookout for my next video. I really enjoy this. I want to continue doing this live. I actually enjoy these lives a lot more than solo videos. I find myself sometimes doing solo videos. I lose my train of thoughts because I'm a person that likes to have a conversation with others. And through this avenue, even though we've never seen in person, the fact that I get to see you guys talking to me via text, via message, in a live, it activates my creativity. And I absolutely enjoy what I'm seeing here. So, again, thank you so much for being here. 7469, thanks for being so active. Malik, GFunk, Chicano, Boxellano, Miss Jones Jr., thank you so much. Piece of beans in the teeth. Facts. You've had them. You can't say you've never had them. Tito de la Hoya, Kirkland, and Winky. Winky Wright. Winky Wright still around? Does Winky Wright even step into a ring? I don't know. I haven't heard of Winky Wright. Winky Wright was one of my favorite boxers. No power, but the dude has some skills. Bernard Hopkins, Mosley. Girl, you're talking boxing. And so many more that I am forgetting from those HBO glory days. Yes. But you know what, though? I think Tyson and Jones started a good thing. A lot of people are criticizing it because they're taking it out of context. They're taking legends only and they're trying to mix it to active professional boxing. No, it's just exhibition matches. It's exhibition matches between retired fighters that are going to fight at whatever level they find themselves at. And we just have to enjoy it. Let's leave the criticism aside. We have to put things in perspective, in place where they belong and keep them there. Keep them there. So, 7469, keep the chats coming, brother. Yes, I'll have. All right. G-Funk, great show. Mr. Mi hermano, HCP. Hey, I like those two little flags, homie. I like those two little flags. We'll be seeing each other in the next live. Again, thank you so much. 7469, I got to roll, homie. You Winky beats my man Tito. Listen, if I keep talking to him, I'll be here 2 days. But I love Winky and his defense. His defense was crazy. That's it for now, my people. Much love, much respect, much appreciation for your activities today. Be on the lookout for the next video. Be on the lookout for the next live. Share this live throughout your social media. You can follow me at Twitter at Raw Boxing TV, where you can come at me every day, ask me questions, or give me ideas for videos that you want to see, and I'll bring them forward to you. Until then, I'm sorry. Raw Boxing TV signing out. Be safe, my people. We out.